Yes! Here we go!
We're back. Guys, before we jump into today's show topics, let's start the show with the usual remarkable story I came across on Reddit. Guys, don't forget to let us know your opinion about this story in the comments. I'm going to show the banner now. Mandatory gas pass.
Wait a second. What kind of gas are we talking about here?
Well, it's the type Diddy wouldn't mind.
Oh.
More on that later. I want to preface this by saying that this is not a joke. I'm 100% serious. I have never heard my girlfriend pass gas around me. I didn't really notice until she moved in with me around the end of last year. I gave it time, but after a few months, I asked her, "Do you not feel comfortable around me?" And she said, "Of course I do. Why would you think I don't?" And I said, "Honestly, I know this is weird, and this has really never been a problem for me before, and it makes me feel awkward even bringing it up. But I have never heard you pass gas around me, and it's kind of bothering me." She said, laughing. She started laughing, but I said, "I'm serious. I know you pass gas. Sometimes you get up and go somewhere else and do it. And I just don't know why you can't do it here. Do you feel like I'm going to judge you or something?" And she started teasing me and saying, "Oh, I didn't know you had that type of fetish." But after a while, when she saw I was serious, she promised that she would start passing gas around me more often.
Oh my god.
People are weird, man. Come up.
But she was still kind of smiling. And I knew she wasn't taking me seriously. Few weeks ago, or no, few weeks went by, no gas. I
Oh,
bring it up again. She asked me to stop pressuring her because it's making her feel self-conscious and that it'll come in time.
yo.
She she said that I just have to be patient. I let it go. Few months go by. I bring it up again.
Come on.
And I tell her this is my last time bringing it up.
Ultimatum.
Obviously, you don't feel it's an ultimatum, man. It's an
Oh,
ultimatum. A gas ultimatum. Obviously, you don't feel comfortable around me. You don't want to pass gas. Fine. I just want to let you know that I'm very hurt by this. But I love you, so I'm smelling it. No, I'm letting it go. She says, she says, "Thank you. And don't worry, I will." But she hasn't passed gas yet, and I still haven't let it go.
come on.
We're almost there, guys. We were watching Netflix the other day on the couch, and I was just randomly thinking about it. I forgot that the movie, what the movie was, but she was super engaged, and I kept pointing out different things in the scenes, and I was just giving her the one-word treatment. Yeah, wow, cool. Mm. Until she stopped the movie and asked what was wrong with me.
He's acting like a woman.
Like a very feminine, but okay.
Oh, man.
Obviously, I didn't want to bring it up again, so I said nothing. Really like a woman. It's really like, but
It's
she
like
said,
Yo, this is going south.
but she says, "Oh my gosh, are you thinking about the passing gas again?" And
Oh,
then she called my mom and told on me.
oh,
How old are these people, man?
yo, this is crazy.
Calling each other's mom. Obviously, my mom sided with her and told me to stop being a weirdo. But my girlfriend and I've been together for 5 years. And genuinely, I'm bothered by this. I don't want to make this a big deal. You already did, though, but
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
But
what
it's too late to point at it's too late at this point. If my girlfriend doesn't feel comfortable enough to pass gas around me after 5 years, then maybe we don't need to be together.
What? What?
Wow.
So the question, there are 3 questions, and we'll start with you, Corey. And guys in the chat, let us know, of course, your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. So the first question is, am I weird for wanting her to pass gas around me? Second question, would it be weird to ask her to leave? The third question, but I don't think any of us has a problem with this. Please answer honestly. So let's start with you, Corey. First question.
Are you weird for wanting that?
Yes.
Absolutely. 100%. But so here's what I have to say, I guess, at the beginning here. Crazy, weird.
Did you say gas at the beginning here?
No. Here's what I have to. I don't know what I said.
Okay,
I didn't say
mind.
I didn't use gas yet. Here's what I think I'm understanding of this world that we're in right now. Everybody's crazy. Everybody's weird. Like there is. I now have to try to understand from his point of view what he's going through and what he desires. Is he weird for that? Absolutely. That's a yes. He was weird after the first sentence, and then it continued. What's the second question?
Would it be? Would he be the a-hole if he asks her to leave?
She should leave. They are not supposed to be together. They're not supposed to be together. He needs someone that is dirty. I mean, look.
Yes.
The dirty. We're not even. Yes, the other side. I hope he's acting like a woman.
Yes.
But even from a woman, the woman doesn't want the guy to fart, but it does show whatever. I don't even, bro. I mean, it's interesting, sure, because it's like this is where we are. He brought it to Reddit. He's typing it. He's really, he's thinking about this. He's pondering. He probably talked to a couple of his friends. He went out and took a walk and was like, we got to figure this out. And then, so.
Bring the boys in. I have a story to tell. We got to figure this out.
But he made a problem that was not even a problem. He created this issue that is keeping him up at night. He's got a good woman at home that just doesn't fart. That's what, and we want the women to stay in their feminine. When it doesn't work out, now she's going to think that the next guy is going to want that. It's like, oh, look at this. Like, no, women, we do not find that attractive. We don't want that. Don't think that this is anything of, where we'd like you guys to take whether it's femininity, feminism, girl power, don't use it for a gas pass.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, imagine you go on the first date and you ask a girl, why did you break up? Because my ex-boyfriend didn't like that I passed gas next to him. Yo. Now I need to judge her that she had a boyfriend that would think like that. Anyway, no, but RJ, it's a crazy story. I mean, everyone has their weird stuff, their quirks with them.
Mm-hmm.
But to make this an issue, and even pondering to break up because it's. I think I have to agree with Corey. They're not compatible. The guy he wants a girl to fart in his face, and she's not willing to.
No, I didn't read that at all, man. I didn't. There's nothing that you could have heard. Nothing. Let me look. I don't see anything that would insinuate that conclusion.
Let me tell you this.
Okay.
I think you wouldn't mind.
I know. I think. Okay, I do agree with you on that.
But yeah,
I think he would actually like it though.
I think so too.
I think if he would just say, "Oh, you're so vulnerable. You feel so comfortable around me," he would enjoy that. Because I mean, at the end of the day, hopefully, I mean, if he likes, I don't know, his head might be around in the area, and so then if a fart comes out, he's pretty happy, right? That's, I don't know.
I mean, it seems like he would be overjoyed if it happened, and it's like it's one thing to say, oh, it happened and I'm okay with it, but to want it is like a next level. It's like next level. The extreme of that is, so I would say this. The extreme of that is Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp was on on his, I think it was Nightcap with Ochocinco, and they were talking about these type of topics, right? First of all, I think he brushes his teeth he said he brushes his teeth like 9 times a day or something. But apparently with regards to going to the bathroom, he doesn't go where the woman is. So he doesn't use the bathroom in the that's next to the room. He would sometimes go out of his house to the
Like his grandmama.
no, come on.
Wait, he told the story back in the days. He would go
Yeah, but that's because he didn't have one. Come on, man. That's not what I'm talking. Come on, man. Yeah.
What? I don't know. I don't follow there.
Because in the past, KR, man, come on. So in the past, when he was small, when he was little, they didn't have a bathroom inside the house, so he would need to go into the bushes to do it. So he never saw a bathroom before that, and so, but now he's not doing it because there isn't a bathroom. He's seeing it because he doesn't want to smell. He doesn't want his companion to smell it, or he doesn't want to smell his companions. Yeah. So that's why he does it. But now,
I mean, I don't know if Shannon Sharp is a big guy. I don't mean like
yo. Yeah. It's elephant dump. So what I'm saying is, but now KR is saying,
trust me, I know some of the culture of Shannon Sharp, like tight end. He's what, 285 probably. Yeah, probably makes sense for him to go into the other corridor.
Yeah. But I would say that's the extreme. But he said he never does it. So even if he never does a number 2, if the companion is around, he would go somewhere else. Sometimes I think he would even go to the other side of the house, or if there's an apartment, to the apartment, just for to have it completely clear. And he doesn't accept farting at all. So I think that's like a different extreme. I mean, you don't welcome it, but accepting is like, yeah, it happened. It is what it is. I think this guy, I agree with you, Corey, to say that he's weird or not. Weird is just subjective. But I think they definitely need to seek people who are more like them. And if, to quote Dave Chappelle, this isn't the quote. If
what do you mean? To quote Dave Chappelle, this is not the quote.
So what? The first part was not the quote. The second part is the quote. So if the woman not passing gas around you is the reason why you're considering a breakup, and now I quote, then that's a brittle spirit. It's just weak. It's that the relationship is on thin ice to begin with. So
100%.
Yeah.
Imagine being on thin ice because of gas. Come on.
But he could have done anything. He just didn't want to be with her.
I think that's the case. Yeah. I think.
But I still don't know why his mind used that as the excuse.
Yeah. Maybe
she's not talking because she's not passing gas next to me when we're watching that.
Corey, maybe it's because all the other things he tried to break, they didn't work. I want children now. Okay. I want to move to Minnesota. Okay.
Right.
So everything he tried was like, okay. That was like, I want you to pass gas. Oh, this is it. I got it. Found it. Hey guys, in the comment section, let us know what your thoughts are about this story. Do you think that the guy is weird or the woman? Is it reasonable to demand in the form of an ultimatum for your partner to be passing gas? Is this the new form of gaslighting? Let us know in the comment section below. With that being said, let's move on to the next section. As we said, guys, welcome again to another edition of the Double Touch Show, where we discuss trending topics and try to explore uncommon lessons from commonplace situations. I'm RJ here with KR. Of course, in today's show, we have Corey with us. We're going to let Corey reintroduce himself in a bit. But in today's show, we're going to be discussing Diddy, Candace Owens, and other topics in the short thought segment. Corey is joining on us, as I said, so he can give his insights on these topics. Corey, can you reintroduce yourself real quick?
Yeah. Today I'm going by C. Moses. I am a connoisseur of hats. I wear many hats, literally and figuratively. Former football player, now college referee. I work in and around talent for sports media and entertainment. Let's see, what else? Family man, American man, lover of culture and just life and the truth.
Free thinker.
Free thinker, yeah, for sure. It comes up time and again, and I'm still optimistic, but I certainly think we're at a necessary point in our evolution that we need some voices to kind of come to the front or move to the surface. And whether I'm self-picking myself or I've been picked to kind of like speak my mind, oftentimes I find myself in conversations where it's like, we need more of that. So excited to do this show again and more like it. So here we are.
All right. Hey, thanks for your short reintroduction. And I do agree with you, C. Moses, that we are in the dark ages and we need some light. So enlightenment in the conversation. The previous Reddit story is an example. Let's
100%.
jump into the first topic. Yes, guys, remember, as I already said, rate the show by pressing the like button, share the video with your friends, your family, and your enemies, like the video, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and hit that notification bell so you stay up to date when we drop new videos. KR.
Yes. Let's start with the first topic of the day, which is Diddy. There was a raid a couple of weeks ago at his homes in LA, New York, and Miami. Technically, they're not his homes; they are homes of his kids. But hey, here's what it is. It's been quiet the last week. Corey, where were you when it happened, and were you shocked?
Where was I? I don't know where I was. So I think that I'm grateful that it wasn't that groundbreaking in my world where I was like, I'll never forget where I was when Diddy's house or whatever was raided. I was shocked at first, and then I started to think the same feds that raided his house went to Mar-a-Lago, have done this, that, and the other. So then I go back to this Justice Department or system doesn't actually want justice. It's more of a show. So then my mind starts to process, okay, well, what are they trying to do? What's actually going on? And then where my algorithm lies, they were trying to get all the evidence because Diddy was going to buy ABC, right? Not literally, but just everybody they have more intelligence than even the intelligence. So, not surprised. I'm one of those people that went down the rabbit hole a while back in terms of what Diddy was actually up to and some of the people that left his camp, why they left and where they are today and yada, yada, yada. So I'm not going to surface those stories, but I know that they're out there, and I don't know. I'm interested to see how other people view this, because I do believe through this now being headlines, you could either accept it, you could run from it, you can ignore it, you can laugh. Like no matter what you do, you got to do something with it. because a lot of people just didn't actually go and look for the information.
They never do, right? Never go look for it. They just that's I think that's a lot of times the problem with people idolizing celebs, where they're they're looking at the screen and they see someone they like and then they root for them, but they never try to find out what these people do in their private life. And it seems like to me, if you read the stories, and I'm not sure if everything is true. I mean, if you look, we discussed the Lil Rod story in these shows as well, and some things you gotta ask yourself, dude, why would you write it this way? Doesn't make any sense. Some of the things he put, some of them do. And
Right.
then you gotta ask yourself, like, dude, is who is Diddy actually? Who have everyone has been praising Diddy for the last, I know Diddy since I was little, so probably since 30 years.
Sure.
I've seen Diddy grow to the guy he is now, and then all these stories come out now. It. I mean, you can say a fall of a, in my view, since he's that big. I don't idolize people like this, but it's like a fall of a someone you've seen your whole life on TV.
Yeah, it is.
But, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Corey. MC Moses.
Um. So I mean, because what we thought Diddy was, depending on when you did come across some sort of damning information about him, you look at him in a completely different light. So when you say this is the fall of Diddy, in my mind, he had already fallen. And so for the last decade or so, for me, I never saw him in this mogul or aspire. Anybody who wanted to be like Diddy is like, you don't, right? So like he was already at the bottom for me. But and then what will actually happen? Well, because the houses are in the kid's name. They didn't. Yes. Did they do anything? So he's already kind of protected himself for this day. He changed his name. So that was Sean Combs who was doing that. That wasn't Diddy. Or that was Love who did that. That wasn't Diddy. Or I don't know what he's going by today. But it's like, who are they looking for? And what are the charges? And when did it happen? Who was he going by then? These are the levels at which some of these celebrities move. And when you talk about the criminality of stuff, if they're looking for a who, I don't know. That's the part where my mind goes. I don't know if there's actually if that's an actual piece of the puzzle of who he was going by and when this was. But I'm pretty sure he's protected in some way. If not, he's with the Fed. What do you mean?
Those stories are going around. Yes.
But I cut you off. I wanted to know what you were going to say.
Yeah, you didn't cut me off, but yeah, what I wanted to say was that KR said something. He said that we've known him in different phases, but he's at the same time, did we really know him? We know of him. Yeah, it's not like we know that he had a show, Making the Band, I believe it was called. We know that he was popular, very popular in the 90s, early 20s, but then he became like a mythical creature. So if you take, for example, Jay still continued to drop. So he did become mythical, but he did at the same time continue to drop albums. So we did get to know him. He would do interviews, other things like that. He would be involved in scandals. But with Diddy, he remained Diddy, but he wasn't in the public's eye as much as he was when we grew up. So, yeah. But what is very important is very, very, very important to mention is that Diddy has been known for his parties, extravagant parties. And we know that not because Diddy promotes them, but because there are a lot of stories by artists, by actors, by athletes that involve a Diddy party, and not in a sexual way. Just I was at a Diddy party, and I think Jamie Foxx met Ye at a Diddy party, if I'm not mistaken. So it's like he brings people together. But I do believe now from the stories that you have the PG-13 version or the R version even, and then you have the XXX version. And depending on who was involved in the latter, and if he was really recording, then he could have been, or could be, he can be both an asset and a liability at the same time, because it's just two sides, so two extremes of a spectrum. We have, if we go through, if we look at our history, not the one that's being taught in school, of course, but there have been continuous stories about people who we get to know them when they become the villain. But if you go do your homework, you see that at one point they were actually assets.
And he was kind of bred into this sick system of gatekeepers. You know, if you want to make it big in the music industry, this is what you have to do. He was the intern that turned to, you know, he had a hard work. He was a hardworking guy that kind of just rose through the ranks. Or so I guess I don't know actually Diddy's story, but I just feel like that was kind of how he was introduced to us. Yeah. But that same system was the one that a lot of artists, even in the 80s and 90s, were talking about, pointing fingers, saying this is what they're actually doing. So as much what I think we all have to do is actually hold people accountable and call the spade a spade and say this type of behavior and this type of person is not, you know, I don't want to give you a pass. And so like once I realized something, you know, once I heard about the stories, none of us know. I don't think none of us have been to a Diddy party or know the actual truth. But you could connect enough dots to say, okay, enough of this is the truth for me to now certainly separate myself from your artistry, what you stand for. Put it that way.
Yeah.
That is a type of person that we could. It's not the type of person. It is. Those are the things that we need to get rid of because it passes on traumas. It passes on degenerate behavior. It passes that, you know, well, if you do that, I can do this. And then you just point the finger and we never move the ball forward because everybody's just hiding all their other stuff, whether it's underneath the rug, they're in the closet, there's this, there's that. And there's no actual linear progression of us as human beings. The music culture, like there's nothing that's getting better and better and better because you've got conniving and just weird energy that is just in a room of people that are just trying to be artists or have a fashion brand or what have you. Then all of a sudden this guy shows up and something's just not right.
Yeah. Talking about energy, so Diddy has had this kind of negative energy for a while now. For those who are watching and listening to the behind the scenes stories, I mean, we all have heard about the stories of artists being jerked by his label, not getting their boss.
No Diddy,
man. Well, some of them were. Anyway, hey, it is what it is. Do you, Diddy? Anyway,
I think that's what he was doing. I mean,
I know that's the thing. Yeah, it's not do you. No.
He's been doing it.
But yeah.
All right. So let me. Where I draw the line is if you're gonna do you, tell the world what that is.
Yes, I do agree. We talked about this in the previous show.
And let us make a decision on whether or not we believe that's something we want in our world. The point where, so yeah, that's because you know.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to draw their line in different areas. I guess for me, speak your truth, live your truth, tell us what that is, especially if you want to assume that type of CEO, whatever. If you are, in the woods in your own room and whatever, you don't need to just tell everybody what you're doing. But if you want to be a leader of men or be a pioneer in the culture, tell us what's going on.
Yeah.
In your life, in your world, in your art.
Yeah. The what I think is the problem is not, or at least the main problem is not the person, but I look at it like this. If I have a business, then it makes sense that the people at the top are the people who I feel represent what I stand for, right? Because they're going to be the leaders of my business.
Mhm.
In this case, of the industry. They pushed Diddy all the way to the top. I mean, Diddy did work hard, but he was also favored because there are a lot of people that work hard. I said worked, KR. A lot of people
No,
that
no,
work
no,
hard,
no,
but never
no.
get there. But I'm just saying, never get there. So he did receive favors, but if you look at the music, the okay, I'm just gonna say this, and then we can move to the next one.
Yeah.
But if you look at the music, the state of the music, which we talked about extensively in the past, see Moses, uh,
Mm.
then it's only getting more and more degenerate by the day.
Yeah.
And these are the people that, and this is not like a conspiracy, but if you look at, it's just like if you look at who the owners are of the mainstream music industry, they do not represent nor live the life that they are promoting.
Right.
They're probably telling their children do the opposite,
Right.
but this is telling, and so they do it. And so if you're going to create an environment like that, and then you in that industry, it makes sense that there will be a place where Diddy can grow and do the things he's doing, and because he has power and because he has connections, he has a key to the city. He's Diddy. At people will they know things, but they won't talk about. But yeah,
It's true, and I hate that about that culture. The fact that everybody knows, but they won't say. And the thing for that, I guess, works in Diddy's favor is it would just be a domino effect because there's so many people at that level that are in doing the same exact thing. And if he goes down, I'm sure he has enough on a bunch of other people. And that was where I started really to distance myself from even being one of those celebrity worshipers. It's like if the truth got out, I don't think we have a big enough jail for everybody.
yeah. Well, you're thinking that the domino will fall like this. The thing is, when he gets popped in the head, it'll fall to the side because if he knows something, I think
Yeah.
not if he knows something, then it's big and it's
Yeah.
probably a bunch of somethings. And there are a lot of there's like a bunch of people with a bunch of money
Yeah.
that are willing to do a bunch of things so that a bunch of some things don't get out.
Epstein domino.
Or
Next
Boeing,
topic.
or Boeing.
Oh boy. Yeah, boy.
Now, that was a
No,
crazy one. That was a
boy.
crazy one. Hey,
Yeah.
the fans have been watching, man. They have been on Diddy still since 2013, apparently. So this is I'm gonna share real quick so people have the source so that they'll say I'm talking from.
Is that Buster? Is that the nickname of Diddy?
Oh,
Or?
it's smoke. It's smoking gun. Oh, wait a second. Let me wrong one. This one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I don't know if you guys know Jimmy Henchman. It's been
Yeah.
a name in the music industry in the 90s, early 2000s. And apparently, according to this article, which is from 2013, we were more than 10 years ago already, they were asking Jimmy Henchman, who's doing life in prison now, They were asking him about Diddy's relationship with underage people.
Mhm.
And they were very specific about the questions they were asking. And back then, Jimmy Henchman, as you can see him here, he was in a bind and he was trying to work with the FBI and the team to get let's say a bit of reduction of his sentence or I mean his upcoming sentence. But he didn't have anything to tell. So basically, what you see here is that they have been. I mean, these stories have been out there, and like I always say in our show, right? The fats are always listening and watching. They don't act right away. They just stack the deck on you, and at a certain point, that's why they have like what is it, 90% conviction rate or something like that, or 95%. They'll just stack all evidence, and when they move in, it's over. I don't know if they have anything on him, but for them to, what I thought was weird is the show of um, power at these rates. I was like, I mean, it's not like he's El Chapo or something. I mean, we're talking about at worst he might have had some blocks, but he's not like the big guy.
I mean, there have been deaths connected, though, allegedly.
That is true. That is
And
true.
I would even say, so you said 2013, the feds have been watching or interested in such figure. His introduction, again, once it's like weird because you go through a whole part of your life thinking things are this way, and then you come across information that is like, and then his introduction to us was the Biggie situation that the age I was at the whole time, everything was just like a mesh. So all of a sudden he's, 1 week he's in a video with this guy, everything's cool, they're having fun. And the next week his best friend is gone, and now he's got an album coming out, I'll Be Missing You. And it was amazing, but at the same time, if you're the feds, weren't they? We still, do we know who did what and how that transpired? Like at that point, this guy's probably there was some dirt, probably. Also, in that article, it's not just underage people; it's underage boys.
Yeah,
that's the part that's like, there's a certain level that I can digest, because then I can't digest it anymore. I get either pissed off or I'm just like, what are we doing? Who is, like, what do you mean? What is this line of thinking that you believe this is okay, beneficial? These people need to be made an example of, one way or another. It's you literally cannot function as a civilization if you don't make an example of, hey, this is not tolerated because blah blah blah. Talk about these traumas and stuff, but it's like, I don't know. There's just so many layers and levels to the yeah.
And what stands out to me is the time span, because if the feds have been on his tail since 2013, where it's like 11 years ago.
Yeah.
But this is why the feds have this. What did you say?
It
was more. It was more.
So the story goes. So if you listen to Jin Deal, he's referencing. I've been watching all his interviews at Art of Dialogue, and what you find is that he continuously has been referencing to one period, and something that happened to one entertainer, which was Usher, and Usher having to go to a hospital. If those stories reach, if Gene is telling those stories, guess what? Probably the feds have heard it again. So that's probably who they're referencing to in this.
Yes, but for the feds to have a 95% conviction rate, They need to have everything in place, and to have everything in place in cases like these, it takes time. So that means that the feds can do a 10-year long stakeout and gather information, but in the meantime, the things are going on. Things are still taking. You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
the injustice is still taking place, and you're just waiting. But of course, it's easy for us to say because the feds have their intelligence. They have maybe other people that they were looking at as well, right? And maybe um, Diddy was at one point the middleman, but maybe not the middleman. So I'm
But I mean, it's like, what are we paying them to do as a whole group? Just to get all the information and just to keep an eye on these people and just to have a record of all of this stuff? Or do we actually want to like stop things from happening? Because if you're watching from 2013, had you done anything, you would have. That's pre-Cassie may have saved that life or story. It's pre. There was another alleged murder. Like, we could have saved lives. We could have saved some of these other incriminating things from happening. So
yeah.
they were just recording and just keeping a record of stuff. And so what's the point? I mean, it's like, I'm trying to understand what their goal really is.
Yeah, so there's like the other side as well, right? And the other side is that you can't punish someone for something that hasn't happened.
But you can try them.
You can try them, but the prosecutor's office, just like everything government, has limited resources. They're gonna go up against someone that has enough money to hire 5 law firms, for example. 10 lawyers on the case, 5 lawyers on the case, maybe 20 paralegals, and so on and so forth, who have more experience, who are the best of the best, because the best of the best work in the private sector oftentimes, because that's where you get paid for being the best of the best. And so if as a governmental body, you file a case against Diddy, you go prosecute Diddy, for example, but you don't have a strong case, you're gonna waste the limited resources and lose. So the whole system, the way it's set up, makes it almost impossible to work on a high speed and effectively to tackle what needs to be tackled. And so what will people, for example, have to deal with? Oh, overtime. Am I going to get my overtime? Yes or no? While the people in the private sector, they just get bonuses.
Right.
So they build the hours. So the incentives are entirely are structured in an entirely different way. And so I do think that plays a role in the way things are being handled. At the same time, I think 10 years is way too much. It's just way too much time.
Yeah, way too much. And the actually interesting piece about Diddy is he does have a wide reach when it comes to his businesses, people that he's influenced, good or bad, whatever. You know, I just think Ciroc, Revolt, the music label, and the band and the show, and he has a lot of different stuff that's employing a lot of different people. But because of how his reputation is tainted, I do feel as though all of those people that he's touched, like, they're negatively impacted, whether they realize it or not, just by being connected to them and what their minds have to go through, because they'll either ignore some of this stuff, like they're not able to actually accept the truth. So that it honestly hurts me, because it's like, we just think about what revolt it means and is supposed to mean. Like, it's supposed to be the first or the only real black media, right? But that type of media, if you actually like take it as whether it's information, like what comes to mind because of what I know that we are covering, that the Vote or Die and the when T.I. and Diddy or T.I. and Candace were on stage and all that stuff, it's like, who put this thing together? What was the agenda behind it? And so then you go through many layers, and I'll allow my mind to just get to what it's to brainwash the next generation, and all because of one man. Not all because of one man, but like it just, if you look at the optics, there's this one man at the top who actually is living a life that we don't really either know or approve of. But if you have somebody who actually wants black media to unlock the, I don't even want to say black media, I just want to say media, who actually wants to put out good cultured hit, what, you know, entertainment, there's a need, there's a void there, and we think it's being filled by that platform, but it's not. So like, had we been able to close up that, we might have been able to spark the idea of the actual thing that we're looking for. And that, and a lot of some of the other stuff that he's touched. I don't know. It's,
yeah.
That's why when you go deeper, every time you go one layer deeper, it's like this Diddy thing is, it's a difficult topic because it's connected to so many other topics.
Yes, and if you look at it, talking about so many other topics, it's also connected to so many people. And what you see now is that there's only one guy standing by him. That's Stevie J.
Stevie J. He was standing behind him in one of the videos. Yeah, Stevie J. He's the only one.
He's the only one.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the only one that's really publicly defending him. Other people are saying that they are tired of the topic, but it seems to me like, so other people in the industry, right? And it's like, yeah, you can be tired of the topic, but it doesn't mean that the topic isn't important, you know? And I say what I would say is this, and this has to do with the level of probability that what's being said in the rumors are true or not. Gene Deal, former bodyguard, has been talking and talking and talking about things that allegedly happened, sharing so many stories. As far as I'm aware of, there's not one defamation case against him.
Now that you're saying that, that's true.
If you're running, let me put it in quotation marks, if you're running your mouth, if that's what you're doing, right, then you would expect a court case. But he's been talking. The other bodyguard, I forgot his name, he also went on some platforms and talked.
Yeah.
Nothing has happened. No, I expected that they would send him a warning letter or something. The man is still going to platforms and sharing stories, especially the art of dialogue.
Yeah.
In detail, naming names. Diddy didn't, Usher didn't, and all the other people whose name was mentioned in the stories haven't said anything about it.
I think they're looking for it to just go away. So if you say the more you talk about it, the more, you know, that's evidence. That's anything one way or another. So you say nothing to to some people, that not saying anything says something. But this is now, I mean, it's Hollywood, right? They understand sort of the PR. They created this PR. They know what you can do with a news cycle in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Don't say anything about, and then it goes like, or resurface, or say there's a documentary coming out and actually don't have anything coming out, but just say that there's a documentary coming out. It gets people to say, oh, I'll watch this in a few years. And then Nothing. Didn't.
But
Go ahead. Let me
yeah,
think.
Simos, my question is, how many parties did Diddy throw, and how many people were invited? Like I said at the beginning, a Diddy has become a mythical creature during the past 10 to 15 years, in the sense that he's not in the public eye as much as he was. But you understand what I'm saying? It's where has he gone to? It's like a big deal. And where are his friends that were there during the parties, who partied and you know, shared those stories?
One thing I've heard, and always when artists say there is no real friendship in the industry, and
Yeah.
this shows us. I
Yes.
mean, it's
One more.
obvious that there are no friends. Everyone went away, even though it was fun partying with you, Diddy. But hey, man,
Yeah.
you're on your own now. Good
Yeah.
luck.
KR, we're gonna just pause one moment.
Yeah, so basically, friends disappeared. There are no real friends in the industry. Corey.
It's okay. Because, I mean, this is actually a good setup. So when you say there are no real friends in the industry, it's okay to call out your friends on certain things. It's almost necessary to call out your friends. And I'm going to go as far as to say it's necessary for us to call out some of these leaders and just the next person. This is an opportunity for us, like as I was saying before, kind of like drawing the line. Where is your line drawn? And if somebody crosses that line, it's okay it's not sort of much that you're judging them, but you are saying this type of behavior is not acceptable. It's not okay. It's, you obviously are not going to have all of the answers on how to handle it, but at the same time, just ignoring it and thinking it's going to go away is not the solution. And there's an opportunity here for us to really like look in the mirror, and has nothing to do with race, has nothing to do with a lot of things that we associate it with. It's like, okay, there's a difference between right and wrong. And when you cross that line and you do something wrong, it doesn't just affect you, it affects other people. And we have to address that. So that's my final thing on this Diddy thing. I don't want it to go away unless justice is served wherever it needs to be.
Yes, okay. Yes, justice. Talking about justice, Candace Owens. Let's transition to the next part. The second topic of today will be Candace Owens. Of course, we have heard about Candace Owens much more lately. I mean, she's been in and out of the media, in on the limelight, quite continuously in the limelight lately. So
Yeah.
before we start, RJ.
Yeah. So she's been in the limelight definitely a lot, and in a positive way as well. But before we dive into that, remember, guys, to rate the show by pressing the like button, share the video with your friends, your family, and your enemies. Like the video, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you stay up to date. Candace Owens, I remember KR the first time. I think she was a liberal first, and I liked her. I didn't, at least I found her annoying, and then, but it's not because she was a liberal. I just found her annoying.
Yeah.
But when she switched, I thought that she was making more sense. But during that time, the funny thing is, I was more liberal minded by back then. So I don't know if it was the topics that she was talking about, but she's getting more and more credibility, or at least earning credibility in Black media's eyes. So we can definitely talk about that.
So basically, she visited the Joe Budden network, and we're gonna take a look at a short part where she's talking about the interest of Black media in Candace Owens these days. So let's share my screen. Let me share this here. Fair use, by the way. Joe, don't hit us with the copyright too hard. Can you guys hear it?
It might have been the root who did it. And people accepted that as something that I said, and I never said it once in that whole speech.
When I saw you reply to my invite, I was very excited.
Thank
I was
you.
very excited about that. But you said that black media never invite you anywhere. It's almost like they're afraid of you. Or they preface it with, I don't agree with her politics.
You did that.
You fucking right I did that. Are you shitting me? So when I saw you say that, I was like, I wonder why she's confused about that.
Well, first off, it's very confusing when you're so accessible, right? Reach out. If you believe that I think this and I'm this and I'm that, why don't you reach out and have me on your show? You clearly like talking about me. There's enough headlines about me that you're covering everything that I say minute to minute out of context. So the signal that it sends to me, if you're covering me all the time, but you won't speak to me, is that you're actually just trying to control minds. You're trying to create a narrative about Candace. You're not interested in actually finding the truth out about what Candace Owens actually believes, right? So I think it's just, I find it to be odd that you wouldn't want to invite somebody onto your show that you spend so much time speaking about. Any person I talk on my show, I'd love to have on my show. Like if any person hit me up, Ariana Grande, right? And was like, hey, I saw you talking about being a hoe. I'd be like, yes. Absolutely. I would like to talk about your hoe antics. I would have her on the show, right? I'm not trying to delude people into believing something about Ariana Grande. If she wants to clear the air, reach out, say this isn't true, fine. I'm not here to smear or to libel anybody. So that drives me absolutely insane. The second thing is, even when they agree with me, they can't agree with me because and I think that's part of the programming is that the media has made you believe so much about me that isn't true. That even when you agree with me, you have to like say this weird thing. I don't agree with about. I'm like, what is it about my politics specifically that you don't agree with? That's what I want to know specifically.
Well, before we get into you, right? My intro to you was Kanye.
And it will never be that. No one will ever be able to actually answer their differences with Candace. I've never seen her debate someone on the actual topic at hand. Anyone who disagrees with Candace attacks Candace, the person, versus attacks Candace's message or stance on things. Every time.
But to be honest, it's not only Candace that has that. I mean,
100%. You're right. Yeah.
As soon as you're not righter than the I want to say lefter than the communists, but okay. As soon as you're not into the programming, like you said, you're gonna get attacked.
Yeah.
But the beauty, I think, is
a great example.
Who is?
Larry Elder.
I was just about to say that.
We went to what's the Charlamagne show again? Breakfast Club. It looked. I was like, what are these people talking about? But
the thing is that people like Larry Elder, Dan Shapiro, Candace Owens, these are people that know what they're talking about, whether you agree with them or not. And the rest are people that follow them, but actually they don't have the extensive knowledge that these people have. So what happens is that when you invite Larry Elder on your show and you attack him from all sides with questions that are seemingly guilt tripping or making him, Kevin Samuels used to call it the sign language, right? Shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right. So it's like from all sides. And he's answering you with the facts. And then for Charlamagne to end the show with, do you know what the ninja wake-up card is?
Right.
And for him saying, well, it seems like, was it Joe Biden? When Joe Biden told you how you should vote, seems to me that should have been your ninja wake-up call.
That was the bottom, yeah.
Amazing moment.
And what you could see on YouTube were the headlines. Usually it would be, they would have changed it. So in the past, I believe the headline would have been Larry Elder triggered by whatever. But a lot of the comments, the captions were Larry Elder destroys Charlamagne, discusses systemic racism. So it does seem like I'm seeing obliterates here in all caps. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, people are starting to open their eyes. You don't just because someone is from a party, from your party, the party that you affiliate with, doesn't mean that you need to agree with everything. It's okay to say, I don't agree with this, but I'm still, right?
And I'll even do that in real time. So a guy like Larry Elder and probably Candace Owens' big message is single parent households and the effect that it has on the next generation. As much as I believe starting out, I agree with the notion or the idea that it's better to have two parents in a house. I absolutely believe you start with marriage when it comes to the picture with kids. At the same time, I am a product, if you will, of a single parent household. My parents were married, but I was raised mostly by my mother. And I deem myself, and I think by statistics, am at a higher chart, whatever data point you want to discuss. It's not a pat on my back. I just want to say that while you might say I'm the exception, it's more so of, okay, well, that's the truth, right? Like, it's not just because you have two parents, you're going to be successful. It's do this, this, and this, and you'll be successful. Pay attention, work hard, have a plan, execute on it, try, which I vividly remember was one of Candace's messages or backfires to, Trump. When she was on the Breakfast Club, they said, Trump's business has failed. And it's like, okay, and he tried. That's one of those liberal left type of, Trump has all these failed businesses. How many businesses do you have? What is your life example to the actual conversation rather than you just trying to point a finger and what have you? So that's where I can be on the same side politically, even though I don't even think of myself as right anymore. Even like in my world, literally, I was the first person that wanted Trump to win in 2016. There wasn't anyone that showed me that this was who, like, that's how I know. And was the beginning of, hey, like, I can think. Like, I don't know. It's like it was a real moment where I was just like, I don't need you to tell me that this is the guy. This is the guy. And then then there was the backlash of pointing the finger at the other side. But my point is, I can disagree with Larry Elder in that, and I could actually have a conversation that's backed by my life story as to just because you have two parents in a household doesn't mean that you are going to create a loving or setting that is nutritious for whatever development, period. So you're going to have to go deeper than that. But what I won't do is call him a coon and say that the white man is controlling, and that's the point that the left can. There's a way where you can probably prove your point and bring the culture forward, but what you end up doing is just attacking the Candace Owens, and it's like, we're done with that.
Yeah.
You want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to say that raccoons are cute and fluffy, so I don't see that as a negative thing. Anyway, okay.
No, but what I want to say is that is what pushes culture forward. If you can discuss these things, why were you? So I'm gonna use the word exception. Why were you the exception in this case? Is it because your mom had a different way of thinking of how to raise kids? I mean, all these things play a role. But if you're labeling someone right away when they say stuff like that, a raccoon, in that case, you don't get to that point
100%.
to discuss these things. And this is what is holding the progress in the culture.
Right.
And I mean,
but however the creator God has it, we're breaking that free of that, because that's for, there was probably like a 5-year span where it felt like we were just in a hamster wheel, like, and I don't want to say we, because in some ways I'm able to just
you don't speak French.
Right. Yes. Yeah, exactly. I saw others just regurgitating it was just a cycle. And with what happens here and when you look into the comments of some of the videos, whether it's when someone's covering Candace or when she's on, it's like a lot of people were kind of just anticipating this day. Not to say she's the new Kanye West of free thinking, but it does allow you to see most people continued to progress. They just weren't doing it in front of the world. So most people are able to have some of these conversations. There wasn't a comment section 10 years ago. Now we have a comment section where we can either get out our ideas or read others. when you watch TV, there is no comment section. So we're in another, I mean, granted, YouTube's been around for a bit, but when you consumed the Breakfast Club, mostly it's on the radio. But now you
Yeah, I think
Yeah, so Corey is back. There was some technical difficulties, but yes, Corey, continue.
Yeah, sorry about that. So I'm not 100% sure where it went out, but the idea or the picture that I was trying to paint is basically almost like we're redefining Black media. And it's not because, I think because the picture that the mainstream media painted of what Black media is didn't actually stand for what the people who, I don't know, my ticker isn't up here, but I'm not Black, I'm C. Moses. That is a stance in and of itself, right? Like, what does it mean to even be? So I say all that just because when you bring Candace Owens into the picture, her voice, her message, and her truth it does constitute Black media because she's a Black person. Whether or not Joe Biden wants to give her Black card or not doesn't actually, it doesn't take away from the fact that we are the people that are walking and that have an opinion and so on and so forth. So the other side of it is that in 2024, there's a comment section. In 2024, there's a lot of voices that are being heard. In 2024, there's new seats at the table, and I think it's a great thing. I think it's the progress that we were looking for. We got stuck, I think, the 90s to the 2015. We kind of got stuck in that hamster wheel that I was describing. And then I think in let's just say with the Trump energy, shit just hit the fan and everybody's speaking up for themselves. And look, there is, if you want to point the finger and say racism is here to stay and white supremacy, and you're oppressed, by all means, that is your truth. That is your voice. Let it be written in the history books alongside someone who had your same hand and won.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the big part of this is my biggest problem is there is still a lot of people who strongly believe, and I'm talking about Black people who strongly believe the Black culture, the people who are part of the Black culture are a monolith. And that's the biggest problem, because if you don't think in diversity, you think as soon as someone doesn't think like you, and we can still see it also in the comments. Hey, dude, in our own comments, we've seen that. When people who, and I mean, it's part of it's part of communities, right? People don't agree, but the problem, I think, is that in these days, there is so much of a polarization, where as soon as someone doesn't think like you, no one asks the question why, or try to, like I said to you before, the discussion to move to learn from each other. No one wants to learn from each other anymore. Everyone wants to be right 100% of the time. You cannot be right 100% of the time. There's always a gray zone. Like you said, majority of the time, they say kids with Black parents have better chances. Guess what? If you bet both parents are toxic, you're screwed as well.
Yeah. But you can also have the best parents in the world and then be a drug addict. Like, yeah. This is real life. So again, by all means, I'm not saying start the story. Like, I'm not anti any of this stuff. I'm just saying that in and of itself does not equate to success. And I'm a living breathing example. And I believe, or I hope, that more people share their story, their real story, not just what statistics show, because even statistics can be manipulated. Or you can just highlight the statistics that you want to highlight to prove the point in that moment, but it actually doesn't paint the actual picture of what's going on wherever you are. But the beauty of Candace Owens is this is something new. This is something different. This is another dot on a big picture when it comes to this matrix that, okay, if we can bring in Candace image and message and what have you, we're having an actual conversation. And those are the best conversations.
What I will say relating to what you started talking about, see Moses, the family thing. Candace Owens is a proponent of the family, traditional family, man and woman. But she's also a proponent of the traditional man and woman values. So and that's what listening does, right? So I fully agree with your statement that having two parents is not everything. That's not going to solve the problems. You need to have two good parents, right? But what she's talking about, the traditional values, right? You have like the responsibilities of a man, and you have the responsibilities of the woman, and then together you would need to strive to have a strong marriage. And that's what she's saying as well. She's not saying go and marry a random person. What she's saying is you need to be the good man and you need to be the good woman. Now, of course, in her talks, that's like a strategic thing. She only talks about the responsibilities of the woman. So she stresses on the woman. But it makes sense that in order to be able to cohabitate and build something with that woman, which is that woman that is a good woman, you need to be a good man as well. The only thing is that she stresses the responsibilities of the woman more than the man, but that's just her brand, her angle. And just by being neutral and open-minded and just hearing what other people have to say, we can grow as a community. Definitely.
Yes,
That's
yeah.
all I have to say. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically what you have is like there are people that are pro Candace, there are people that are anti Candace, and DL Hughley, DL almost out of the. No, I'm not gonna say it. I know what Archie knows what I'm gonna. What I was going.
City, I see blood, blood.
Oh man, hey, DL had a couple of things to say. He shared, I think, when was this? 26th of March. Basically, he retweeted, actually a repost from Baller Alert. Tells you a lot about the media, right? They're trying to sway people to not listen, but by showing, and this is the problem. And I'm not gonna play all this stuff because there are some copyrighted parts in there, but and I have a problem with this a lot of times. People cut things and put it out of context and try to post or add their context to it. So, for example,
our boyfriends move drugs, which is what Breonna Taylor was actually doing.
Let me go back.
Okay. Trailing her, that her name was on the warrant when they showed up at her place. It was not the wrong address. Everything the media told you was a lie. The police officers had every right to be at her property. They had been monitoring that property for weeks. They had a poll camera watching every single thing that group of people did because they were involved in meth, crack cocaine. They were moving drugs, and Jamarcus Glover was the person that was at the center of it. Okay, that's the truth. You were told that the police officer shot her while she was asleep. No, she was standing in a hallway. Right? You were told that nothing to do with anything and it was all an accident. It was not an accident. Okay, she was knee deep in drugs. Just important part about this case, which no one is talking about.
is that they fired first. They shot a police officer, and I shouldn't say
if we're actively helping our boyfriends move drugs, which is what Breonna Taylor was actually doing.
So what you see here is that it's repeating, by the way. What you see here is that it's cut up. You don't get full context, but I mean, it's clear what she's trying to say. But there are a lot of videos, and it's like 10. I think it's 10 videos they put together. A lot of stuff. If you listen to it, you're like, okay. If you put that in the right context, it makes total sense what you're saying. And
Did she lie?
You mean this one? At this part?
Was she lying? I think when it comes to some of these figures that I don't know where they come from. My mind hasn't really been able to understand when you have some of these stories that like the Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud, whatever. Honestly, same with the I just if I read a headline and someone died or whatever, I just don't really connect with it because I don't know the person, and I'm sure that there's some truths that we're not getting. So I don't really connect. I don't follow some of those stories. However, to a group of people, these are they end up becoming heroes. And it's like, you got to protect these people and protect their reputation. It's like, you don't even know them. So from her, this is now what her line of work is. That's like journalism. She's going to find out she's actually investigating it. So I don't know. When it comes to, I'm not going to be the person to say, oh, this is what, but I would like someone to be going to find out what the truth is and then just report the truth. So did she lie there? Is she telling the truth? Do those things help you understand who your hero is? Should that person be a hero? Is the justice system, again, coming into line of question? Is it working?
I have always, this is my biggest question majority of the time. Now, why do the media, why do they push certain people to the forefront to be the heroes? What's the knee on the neck guy again? Floyd.
Yeah.
Floyd was turned into a hero by the
He's a hero, and Candace is the enemy.
Here you have this situation, which was, I mean, it's unfortunate that people were deleted in that situation, murdered or killed in a shootout. But doesn't the media focus on the positive parts of people who are trying to move forward, who are trying to become doctors, who are trying to become entrepreneurs? I mean, there are so many stories. We only hear the stories that are of, I'm gonna say this, it might not sound right, low lives.
That's what it is. I do not know why. I don't get why. And then I don't get the people like, say, a DL who has made it, but then he'll go and become, I don't even think now, like I said, when you get some information and you see them, you look at them differently. So now like a DL Hughley, that doesn't even feel like success to me. But I'm sure in his mind, his bank account will show some numbers. But the energy he's bringing to the table, pointing this out, calling Candace out, probably, he would be the person who's saying George Floyd is a hero. Who is paying him to then be that person as a comedian? He's a comedian, right? Or an actor / comedian. Mm-hmm. Why does he feel that's his part of the story? To give that type of platform and to back that rather than, I don't know, open up the floodgates. He should be working on the DL Hughley, who is a teenager, pouring into the next, think about what you could be doing for your legacy, your reputation, your brand, what have you. It should be in comedy. It shouldn't be pointing the finger at Candace Owens, who you are not even in the same league intellectually, and you're not even supposed to be. You're just two different people, but like you're going out of your way to attack Candace Owens. Why?
Yeah. So I would say everyone has the right to an opinion, and in that sense, it can be that DL Hughley is a very funny guy, very talented, very successful in his industry, but still has like an opinion that we don't agree with. I, to me, DL Hughley is one of the best comedians. When I saw, for example, the Kings of Comedy, I thought that the other three were better. As I'm growing and I'm looking back at DL Hughley and especially what he does, I really like the guy. But I'm afraid to meet him because he will diss the hell out of me. The reason being that he has very strong strong opinions on politics, and he can formulate it in a very direct way. Why? Because he's a master in punchlines, one-liners. That's his thing, one-liners. So he can also formulate any opinion he has in a very strong, direct way, and with a sense of humor that will immediately make you realize that he feel and think the way he's feeling and thinking. So that's his thing. I wouldn't even go as far as to let's say measure the intellect, because some people are intellectual on paper, but when push comes to shove, they just talk things that don't make sense. And when do people start talking things that don't make sense? When they are so no. When being right is more important than finding out what the truth is. Because the life isn't black and white. And when when being right is what's important to you, then you're gonna hold on to the position no matter what happens.
Yeah.
If you have a play, if you're playing if you have like the triangle offense, and that's what you're gonna do because you're the team that dominates, that can attack offensively using the triangle offense the best. But then you lose a game, you lose a second, you lose a third. There comes a point where you need to think, okay, maybe I should just pivot. But it's easier to say if you say, no, you know what, we're not gonna play any team that beat us in the triangle offense. We're gonna play only the teams that we can beat with a triangle offense. Then you'll be at the top of a small league. And is that really what you want? No. You want to be able to face different defenses, different sizes, different techniques. And that's how you determine whether you're good or bad. And that's that's how a team can sharpen its players, can be an effective team, can maybe change from strategy depending on the opponent. And that's how we as people can become better and more resilient, can have more complete opinion because we're open to listening without feeling like something is an attack. I do think that DL pours in up and coming. What?
His whole heart.
No, I don't know. I don't think so. But I do think that he supports. It's not like he's a hater.
I mean, if you look at like his
it's just when we're talking about comedy and stuff, he's pretty neutral. Like, so I've never seen him bash a comedian
right.
unless there's like a beef. But it seems like if you say you believe something else politically, that he might dismiss you. Like, if you're a comedian with a different style, he's open to it and whatever. But it's like, just like some people, they might be Christians, and if you say, oh, you're a Muslim, okay, I'm not gonna talk to you. So that's what he has with politics. If you say you're a Republican, for example, I feel like he will say, okay, no.
Right. But if you,
But it's just one aspect, that's what I want to say. That's
but
what
it's
I want to say.
important because there's a lot of celebrities that, for whatever reason, they take that mantle where the right and Republican is like, I don't know if that's where they draw a line. It's like, oh, you're a Republican. Oh, you're one of those right. And then all of a sudden you're like not a real person to them, or you're not a value to them. And you say political, but it's connected to so many other adjacent things. If you look at his Instagram, this is almost like what he does now. This is his message, or his agenda is so much like, it was hard to, he's posting regularly as if he's now either going to head into politics, or he's trying to help cultivate the minds of people. So he's covering it, or somebody on his team is. They are, and you have to spend a ton of time, and you have to be thinking like, okay, I'm doing this for what? Is it for the good? Is it because, like you say, you need to be right? What is the agenda behind getting into so many areas that are not a part of your field or paying your bills?
I don't think it's an agenda. I think he really believes. So that's the thing. I don't think it's an agenda. I don't think he's sitting consciously saying, okay, you know what? I'm going to say this. I'm going to say that. I think he really believes what he believes. And he really believes that the other side is evil and his side is good. I think that's the reason why. It's not because, and I don't think that he's thinking he's doing something evil or trying to mislead. Yeah, I really think.
I'm open to that, because I do. Well, I don't know, but I'm not. That's what I'm saying. I'm not sure what's the motive behind it. But if you're saying
they ask him, so the reason I believe he talks about it as much is, first of all, they ask him that a lot, but on his social media he also has a lot of. So if you look at on his social media, I don't know if he changed it, because I used to follow him. Now I don't anymore. I just watch, let's say, his interviews and stand-ups and shows if he has any. But he's a very pro black person. Not only that, he's a very anti. How do I say it without saying it? Very anti. No, I'm just. So this is purely for the algorithm.
Is it this one? Is it this one?
No, it's not that.
I'm not going to say what.
Okay. Oh
no, it's not that one. He's very anti establishment.
Oh, okay.
Dominated by the
race,
white
people.
By white people. By white people.
Okay,
so to him, it's really white versus black, and he's really focusing on the injustices in that area. So as soon as there's that's what triggers him. So I don't necessarily believe that it's the politics directly that he's either blue or I was going to say white or black. It was either blue or red. It's more that he thinks he sees the red as a representation of
evil,
the white establishment.
Yeah,
and
that's
so that's the reason why. So if he
makes sense,
once that view changes, you will see that he will be more neutral. But
that kind of is my point, because you're saying he's pro-black, but he's not pro-black if he's attacking Candace Owens. So the red part covers the black, because he's willing to take down the black if they're red.
So he's seeing the red as a representation of the white, right? And he's seeing every black person on the red side as being controlled or confused by the white. And so
little does he know, he's literally attacking the people intellectually that are a couple years either ahead or they're, at this point, I'm convinced for sure. People are like, oh yeah, the blue and red is the same, one wing of the same bird, whatever. Cool. However, if you actually go bullet by bullet and you dive deep into the topics, the ones that have more data points to prove a point are, it's going to be red. Like it's not really at this point. If it's not even a question anymore. I don't paint the picture as blue being evil, but I definitely don't think that any of their ideas to move any people forward, whether you're black, white, yellow, blue, like it will eventually hurt your people no matter what.
Well, I'll say is this, see Moses. The US has the black and blue. If you go to Europe,
no, don't. What do you mean black and blue?
Red and blue.
Black and blue is beating someone.
Right,
red and blue.
Right.
If you go to Europe, for example, or other countries, they're democratic countries, of course, not the dictatorships. But if you go to other democratic countries, there are multiple parties.
Okay.
So in Europe, you see different shades of
blue and red
ideals. Of blue, of what? So you see different shades of liberals and conservatives, different shades to choose from. So you can say, you know what? I'm not going for this one. I'm going to go for this one because this one is too extreme and this one is not. But in the US, because it's like either this or that, people will more easily fall into the wrong way of thinking, as you mentioned, saying, oh, if that person is there, then that person is bad.
Yeah.
Because there's not like you don't have the different flavors. If you go to Baskin Robbins, it's like 31 flavors and you can choose whatever you want and you can combine it and create a government. You don't have those type of conversations in the US. In the conversation, for example, in Europe, you say, of course, well, because you have the libertarian, RFK, for example, but
it's coming. It's coming.
And what's interesting to see, and both have their positive and their negative aspects. Let me say that because it's not like it's like
it's not
the best one. It's not. No, it's not. It can actually be more confusing because there are more options. Just like when you go to Baskin Robbins and there are 31 flavors, you're probably going to choose what you always choose. You're going to go for what you
but as long as you're able to taste it and then actually tell us what it is versus just taste it, but don't tell us that it tastes like shit.
Yeah. Well,
like just close your mouth and smile. It's like, this is not reality. Taste it and say, okay, I like this. I don't like this. So where we are in America, and I think the rest of the world, don't even say you are blue, red, right, left. Just tell us how you feel, and we'll tackle the conversation. Because most of the times when it comes to politics, not most of the time, where we are now, politics is like you're talking about family. Now we're talking about two-parent household. How is that even political? That's just like, what do you believe? Do you believe in mother and father? It's like, what? That's not a political stance. That's just, my parents were married. I think humans should be married. That has nothing to do with the government. Like, that has nothing. But 2024 and where this is, whether it's one side or this side, just address the topic and actually try to find some words that apply to your real life.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's a very good point you're making. I think I have never thought about it like that, see, Moses. And I think this is what's important to mention based on what you said. Both sides have claimed political talking points. And I'll just close it with this one. Both sides have just claimed political talking points or social talking points. So closed border, red. Open border, blue. So it's like And that's why when you're talking, the politics is so ingrained in
Mhm.
people that when you say something, people will automatically say, "Oh, you're this. Oh, you're that,"
Mhm.
because they're linking it to a political group. In Europe, this is what
No, I say
you're
you're
not,
black, so you're Democrat.
or you're not black. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But if you look at Europe, for example, when you have two parties who have the most votes and would need to form a coalition, sometimes those parties don't click, and it's like, huh? It's like it doesn't click, but it's interesting to see the dynamic of two groups that don't really click but or
Work
are
together.
forced to work together. What will
Yeah.
happen? So it's like a dynamic that in the states you don't get, because if it's blue you already know this is gonna happen, and if it's
Right.
red you already know that's gonna happen. That's all I wanted to say about this part. uh, maybe before we proceed to the short thoughts, just very short about but I get your point as well, Simoses, and we've talked about this bunch of times, and none of us disagree that discussion and dialogue is important for the growth. But I want to maybe move quickly to Shapiro, Dan Shapiro, KR.
Yes, Ben Shapiro, real quick. Candace was fired or let go. Now she's trying to debate Ben. Corey.
I like the idea of it. I think it will over time. I remember going to the movie theater with, I think it was The Great Debaters. I don't know if you guys
Very
seen
good.
that
Yeah,
movie.
it was a good one. That's a good one. Yeah.
It's a good movie, right?
Denzel, though, right?
Denzel, right. And just thinking about what that era of society was like, people were paying tickets to watch people. I mean, that's like, it was like a sport, but we didn't even realize how much it was actually forcing people to have conversation to prove, and it was like real topics. So we almost took it for granted because of what the television gave us. We thought, they were debating, but they were really just doing some entertainment type of stuff to just, this segment is going to be about this. I believe that there's passion behind Candace's stance and Ben's stance. I don't even know what the debate would be, but I would like the idea of our culture going towards that to hash out disagreements. And I think from there, other people will say, okay, let's debate. Put up $200K for charity, whatever. I mean, it's not going to be the first of this, but I just think it would be a step in the right direction where it's seen, optics wise, she was fired from this, blah, blah. But she's saying, hey, I'm free, I'm good. Hey, let's debate and we can raise money and let the people understand where we stand. And then from there, maybe I gain some more supporters, or maybe you gain some more supporters, Ben. But that would be like healing. It would be different. It would be cool to see this is where we are.
RJ.
Yeah, I agree with that. The debate, that's a debate thing as well. I think it's also what you're representing, right? What your stance is. So um, Shapiro is Shapiro. I view them, those two people are as two intelligent people, sharp people, but they're coming from different perspectives. So you have a black woman on the one hand, and you have a white Jewish man on the other. And at the end of the day, you do stand for something, and sometimes those ideals clash. The clashing doesn't mean that you need to be enemies. It's just helps to sharpen each other, because at the end of the day, we're living in a community. I mean, the world is that kind of community. It has different people, different cultures, different beliefs, different lifestyles, and we all need to be able to work with each other and live with each other. And I think such a debate would be good. Unfortunately, what I think the media will do is make it a race, color,
Yeah.
or gender thing, and that will really take away from what, let's say, the quality of what that debate can achieve. Those are my thoughts, KR.
I mean, nothing to add. Both good points. I think that I'm curious whether it will happen. Ben has been ducking the fight like a true boxer. Let's see. Maybe someone has to put more money up. I don't know.
Yeah, do you really need to? That's also a question, right? Do you really need to
The thing is this. So if
do you really need to debate just because someone calls you out? It's
I think they will have to.
You think so?
I do. Well, so like, I think Candace has the opportunity to just blow up. So whether or not she just does her own thing, she'll follow Tucker Carlson or just completely go independent. If her career continues to get bigger, it's not that you have to, but I definitely think Ben, if he's a businessman, he should do that for the Daily Wire, because if not, there will be looked at in a certain light if he never debates her. But clearly Candace wants to. She's calling him out. So you say, do you have to? I think that says your brand is on the line. We'll know the Daily Wire as such if he doesn't, and then Candace continues to, she might be in the White House one day, whether or not, I don't know, but I just think that it's something there that Ben is going to have to address.
I'll say this in closing. Ben has technically nothing to win here. He can only lose. And I think that's what he's afraid of. And what I mean by that, Ben has been quite well known for his debates. And if he loses, he might lose
face.
Not only face, because he fired her or they let her go. Not only that, people follow him because he's so good at debates. Imagine him losing to Candace, who is not known for her debates. So, but let's see if that happens. I'm definitely tuning in, because when he talks really fast, and I want to see that. Hey, let's close.
They both talk fast. Yeah, let's close it out. Yeah,
let's close out. Yeah, let's close out the show with the short thought topics, which is executives stole and used coworkers' identity for 30 years. So this is what the article says. An Iowa hospital executive stole a hard rock card vendor's identity in 1988 to rack up about $200,000 in loans, marry, and have a child using the stolen name, while the victim was locked up in a mental hospital for trying to claim his identity back. Matthew David Kierans, 58, is now facing up to 32 years in prison after he was convicted of one count of false statement to a National Credit Union Administration insured institution and one count of aggravated identity theft. That's crazy. Talking about destroying, first of all, not only your own life, but also the life of someone else. Apparently, so I'm not going to read the whole thing, but the story is that the other guy was homeless because of all this stuff. And the reason why he was locked up in a mental institution is because he went to court to claim his identity back. And the court thought he was not mentally fit.
Wow.
That he was crazy because he did what he did. And after he got out of the mental institution, he went to the same county the guy lives in and talked to the sheriff, and the sheriff did some DNA tests with the original guy's dad and Kieran's, and they then found out that it's not real. So it's a crazy story.
My where I'm at is I've been trying to date. I think the world went crazy, and I thought, like, the world definitely went crazy in 2020. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe it started in 2016 where everybody went crazy. And then I'm, just bringing it back. I don't know when this just moves a ticker up. Maybe it was somewhere in the 90s where the world just went crazy. And right now, everybody is just in the water of craziness, either pulling on to somebody else that's drowning and going down, or they're looking for a life jacket or what have you. But sanity, like, I don't know. And people are really good at lying. That's the thing that not only this story, but Dr. Fauci definitely hit home for me. People are real. No, they're good. I'm giving, that's credit. I am giving.
It's giving
flowers. It's giving flowers while they're alive. That is that's top level type of if he successfully secured 200,000 in loan. He was doing something at a level where he was like, I'm really good at this lying shit.
He made 140K in his the crazy part is this is what he I'll read one part just to give you an idea what kind of this guy was.
Yeah,
the level of delusional he was when he was caught. He said the following. So the one who was who stole the identity, he said to the investigator, "My life is over and everything is gone." Just imagine. So you stole someone's identity, you built your own life on someone else's identity, and now you're saying my life is over, everything is gone.
Yeah.
But that's why the rock bottom actually is good, because then you could actually be who you are, which whether, I mean, it, not to go back and say it again, but it's a liar, but it's also just be you, your actual self. So the life is not over. It's actually.
You mean broke?
Broke? Not only broke, it's gonna be Brokeback Mountain in the south. Let's close the show out.
You'll have a blast on Easter.
No, by the way, no Diddy.
Next year, you'll have a blast on Easter. That's the new the day to celebrate. Let's proceed. Oh man, this world is it's crazy.
It's crazy. These stories are crazy, and you come across these stories every day. People are lying to you. They're lying to themselves. They're lying to everyone around them. I mean, we opened the show with people lying to themselves and to others, and now we're closing it with people lying to themselves and to others.
If you haven't seen American Fiction, go see that movie. It's good.
Which one?
American Fiction.
With the writer, right?
Yeah, the writer. Yeah.
I wanted to check that one out.
You saw the trailer?
Yeah, I saw the trailer.
Very good. Well done. Great story. It's the odd part is like based on a true story. Like there's an actual guy who wrote this book, whatever. But the movie itself is just. It's a good movie, and it just falls in line with what's going on in terms of American fiction and the section, and when you go to the bookstore, but also when you go into real life, like who's living their fiction life versus nonfiction life, and when can you actually tell the difference? It's good.
Good. I was going to check it out, but I'm definitely going to. I think it should be on streaming services already, right?
It's close. So if it's not, then it's in that limbo where you can't see it in theaters, but it's on its way. So I think there'll be another. I saw it in theaters, and I think there'll be another resurgence of people talking about it, because it's like, oh, this is actually really good. So
I think it's interesting. It went to the cracks, by the way. That's what when I saw the trailer, I was like, huh. This went to the cracks, because this is a bit anti-certain.
Right. I mean, look, there's certainly some points, some agenda stuff that's still embedded in it, and the little details. Overall, it was like, they cleared this. Okay, I'm happy to where we're going. We're actually having conversation. People's voices are being heard. They're strategically playing the game. Because not to give it away, but it's like, oh, this is what you guys want. All right, let's play chess with this. And you're thinking almost, there is no other side. There's just I don't know. I don't want to say you're thinking like the other side because then that's here in America where there's two wings, right? But it's like
It's a spectrum.
it's not only that, but just in general, what there's a lot of different viewpoints to view the world in, and there's more voices that are surfacing rather than trying to pick out bring other people down.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, thanks, guys. For those of you who are still here, thanks for sticking around. It's been a pleasure to serve you once more. If you haven't done so already, remember to rate the show by pressing the like button, share the video with your friends, your family, and your enemies. Comment down below. Let us know your thoughts and opinions on the topics we discussed. And of course, subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell. And see, Moses, maybe you can share your information once more. Let people know where they can check you out.
Yeah, I'm CMoses12, pretty much on all social media, including YouTube. I post regularly and then not regularly, but you could definitely find me and chime in, comment here, obviously, but I am a person that is reachable and contactable. So, I like where things are going, including this channel, and all of the viewers that are watching are part of a bigger push to progress.
Yes. Guys, I personally would recommend you to go check out his video on his channel, the Enes Kanter one. Enes Kanter says integrity is better than 400,000 points. That's a very good one. So if you haven't done so already, go check it out on his channel. Guys, it's been a pleasure to serve you once more. Remember to have a healthy conversation in the comment section. We'll see each other in the next one. Until next time, peace.
Peace.